Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Dr. J, and if you're new here, thanks so much for clicking on this video. Before we dive in, please smash that like button and subscribe because we're uploading health and fitness content every single week that's going to completely transform your body and your life. Okay, so here's what I want to start with, and I think this is going to blow your mind. How many of you have tried to lose weight and you've gotten to like mid-morning, maybe 10 or 11 o'clock, and suddenly you're absolutely starving? Your stomach is growling, you're thinking about food constantly, you're losing focus at work or school, and you end up eating something that completely derails your diet? You eat a huge snack, maybe you hit the vending machine, maybe you grab some processed food, and suddenly your whole day is ruined because you're so hungry. If that's you, raise your hand, because I'm telling you right now, that experience is not your fault. That's not a lack of willpower. That's not a character flaw. That's actually your body telling you that you had the wrong breakfast. Here's what most people don't understand about weight loss. It's not just about calories. I know everyone talks about calories in, calories out, but that's actually a massive oversimplification of how weight loss works. Weight loss is about what you eat, when you eat it, and how your body responds to what you're eating at a hormonal and metabolic level. And the breakfast you choose, the very first meal you eat in the morning, is arguably the most important decision you make all day when it comes to your weight loss goals. Choose the wrong breakfast, and you're setting yourself up to be hungry all day, to have cravings, to overeat later, and to make poor food choices. But choose the right breakfast, the breakfast I'm going to tell you about today, and you're setting yourself up to have sustainable weight loss, to feel satisfied all day, and to have the energy and the mental clarity to crush your day. Now, the breakfast I'm talking about is an egg-based breakfast. And I know what some of you might be thinking right now. You might be thinking that eggs are fattening, that eggs are high in cholesterol and they're going to clog your arteries, that eggs are boring, or that you're just tired of eating eggs. I'm going to address every single one of those concerns in this video, and I'm going to show you why eggs are actually one of the most powerful tools you have for sustainable weight loss. I'm going to explain the science behind why eggs are so effective, and I'm going to give you several specific egg breakfast combinations that are delicious, that are easy to prepare, and that are going to keep you satisfied and help you lose weight without feeling hungry or deprived. So let me start by explaining why eggs are so powerful for weight loss at a scientific level. The first thing you need to understand is that not all calories are created equal. 100 calories from broccoli affects your body very differently than 100 calories from a donut, and 100 calories from eggs affects your body very differently than 100 calories from cereal or toast. Here's why. When you eat eggs, you're primarily eating protein and fat, and to a lesser extent, cholesterol and micronutrients. When you eat a typical breakfast like cereal or toast or pastries, you're primarily eating carbohydrates, particularly refined carbohydrates. Now, here's where this gets really interesting from a metabolic standpoint. When you eat refined carbohydrates, your blood sugar spikes very quickly. Your pancreas releases insulin to bring that blood sugar back down. Your blood sugar drops below where it started. You feel hungry again. You experience cravings. You want more food. This whole process happens over the course of maybe 3 to 4 hours, and then you're hungry again and eating more. It's a vicious cycle that leads to overeating and weight gain. But when you eat eggs, which are primarily protein and fat, your blood sugar rises slowly and gradually. Your insulin response is minimal. Your blood sugar stays stable throughout the morning. You don't experience that crash. You don't experience that hunger. You can go 4, 5, 6 hours without thinking about food. That's the metabolic advantage of eating eggs for breakfast. That's why eggs are so powerful for weight loss. But there's more to it than just blood sugar regulation. Eggs are also incredibly satiating, which means they make you feel full and satisfied. There's actually research on this. Scientists have measured something called the satiety index, which is a way of quantifying how full different foods make you. And eggs consistently rank at the very top of the satiety index. They make people feel fuller for longer compared to almost any other food. Why? Because eggs are high in protein, and protein is the most satiating macronutrient. Protein activates neurons in your brain that signal fullness and satisfaction. Protein also takes more energy to digest than carbohydrates or fat, which means your body burns more calories just digesting protein. This is called the thermic effect of food. But here's what's really cool. Eggs aren't just high in protein. Eggs are also high in fat, particularly in the yolk. And the fat in eggs slows down the digestion of the protein, which means you stay satisfied for even longer. The fat also provides micronutrients, and it makes the food taste better and more satisfying. So you get this perfect combination in an egg of something that keeps your blood sugar stable, something that signals fullness to your brain, and something that tastes good enough that you're not going to feel deprived. Now, let me address some of the common concerns that I hear about eggs. The first concern is that eggs are fattening because they're high in fat and high in calories. A single large egg has about 70 to 80 calories, which is not that many calories, and about 5 to 6 grams of fat. Now, here's the thing. Dietary fat does not automatically become body fat. That's a really common misconception. Dietary fat is used for hormone production, for brain health, for absorption of fat-soluble vitamins, and for satiety. When you eat fat with protein, you stay satisfied longer, so you eat less overall. Studies have actually shown that people who eat eggs for breakfast eat fewer calories throughout the day compared to people who eat a high-carb breakfast with the same amount of calories. So even though eggs are higher in fat and calories per serving compared to some other foods, they result in lower total calorie intake throughout the day because they keep you satisfied. The second concern I hear is that eggs are high in cholesterol and they're going to raise your blood cholesterol and increase your risk of heart disease. This is a myth that has been thoroughly debunked by modern research. Yes, eggs are high in dietary cholesterol. A single egg yolk contains about 180 to 200 milligrams of cholesterol. But here's the thing. Dietary cholesterol has a minimal effect on your blood cholesterol for most people. Your liver produces cholesterol based on the amount of saturated and trans fat you eat, not based on the amount of cholesterol you eat. Multiple large-scale studies have shown that eating eggs does not increase the risk of heart disease in healthy people. In fact, eggs contain compounds called choline, which actually supports heart health. Eggs also contain lutein and zeaxanthin, which are antioxidants that protect your cardiovascular system. So not only are eggs not bad for your heart, they're actually quite good for your heart. The third concern I hear is that eggs are boring and people get tired of eating them. I totally understand this concern, which is why in this video, I'm going to give you multiple different egg breakfast combinations so that you're not eating the same thing every single day. You can rotate through different recipes, different flavors, different textures, and you're never going to get bored. Now, let me talk about what makes an egg breakfast optimal for weight loss. It's not just about eating an egg and calling it a day. The magic happens when you combine eggs with the right other foods. The goal is to create a breakfast that has adequate protein, that has healthy fat, that has fiber, that has micronutrients, and that's satisfying and delicious so that you actually want to eat it consistently. The protein component is eggs, obviously. 1 to 3 eggs is the ideal amount depending on your body size and your hunger levels. If you're a smaller person or if you don't have a huge appetite, 1 to 2 eggs might be perfect. If you're a larger person or if you have a bigger appetite, 2 to 3 eggs might be better. The protein from eggs is going to keep you satisfied and is going to help preserve your muscle mass while you're losing weight. The healthy fat component can come from the egg yolks themselves, which I already talked about. But you can also add additional healthy fats like avocado, olive oil, nuts, seeds, or nut butter. These additional fats are going to provide additional satiety and are going to add flavor and richness to your breakfast. The fiber component is really important because fiber slows down digestion, it keeps you satisfied longer, it feeds your gut microbiome, and it supports stable blood sugar. You can get fiber from vegetables like spinach, peppers, tomatoes, mushrooms, onions, or broccoli. You can also get fiber from whole grains like oatmeal or whole grain toast. You can get fiber from fruits like berries or apples. You can get fiber from nuts and seeds. The micronutrient component comes from the eggs themselves, which are incredibly nutrient dense. Eggs contain choline, which supports brain health. They contain selenium, which is an antioxidant. They contain phosphorus and calcium for bone health. They contain B vitamins for energy metabolism, and they contain lutein and zeaxanthin for eye health. But you can also add additional micronutrients by including vegetables, fruits, and whole grains in your breakfast. Okay, so now let me give you some specific egg breakfast combinations that hit all of these components and that are going to support weight loss. The first combination is what I call the classic healthy omelet. You're going to take 2 whole eggs and beat them together. Then you're going to saute some vegetables in a pan with a little bit of olive oil. I would recommend spinach, mushrooms, and diced tomatoes. You're going to cook those vegetables for a couple minutes until they start to soften. Then you're going to pour the beaten eggs over the vegetables. You're going to let them cook until the bottom is set, and then you're going to fold it in half. You can add a little bit of low-fat cheese if you want, like feta or goat cheese, which adds flavor without adding too many calories. Serve this with a side of whole grain toast with a small amount of butter or olive oil, and maybe a glass of orange juice if you want. What you've got here is eggs for protein, olive oil for healthy fat, vegetables for fiber and micronutrients, and whole grain toast for complex carbohydrates and additional fiber. This breakfast is going to keep you satisfied for hours. The second combination is a scrambled egg breakfast. You're going to scramble 3 eggs, and while they're cooking, you're going to dice up some vegetables like bell peppers, onions, and zucchini, and you're going to cook those in the pan with the eggs. You're going to add some fresh herbs like parsley or cilantro for flavor and additional micronutrients. Serve this alongside a slice of whole grain toast and maybe half an avocado. The avocado is going to add healthy fats and additional creaminess to the meal. The vegetables are going to add fiber and micronutrients. This is a really satisfying, delicious breakfast that's going to keep you full all morning. The third combination is egg and vegetable frittata. A frittata is basically a baked omelet. You beat together maybe 4 to 6 eggs, you mix in sautéed vegetables, maybe some cheese, maybe some fresh herbs, and you bake it in the oven until it's set. You can make a whole frittata on Sunday and then have slices throughout the week. This is really convenient because it's meal prep friendly. You serve a slice of frittata with a side salad or maybe some roasted vegetables and some whole grain toast. This breakfast has everything you need: protein from the eggs, fat from the eggs, and maybe some cheese or olive oil used in preparation, fiber from the vegetables, and micronutrients from all the ingredients. The fourth combination is egg and cottage cheese. Now, I know some of you might think that's weird, but hear me out. Cottage cheese is a really underrated food for weight loss. It's very high in protein, it's low in calories, it's incredibly satiating, and it has a really neutral flavor that goes well with savory or sweet preparations. You're going to scramble 2 to 3 eggs and mix them with maybe a half cup of cottage cheese. You're going to add some diced vegetables and some herbs. You're going to cook it gently in a pan, and you're going to serve it with whole grain toast. What you've got here is a breakfast with an absolutely massive amount of protein, which is going to keep you incredibly satisfied. The cottage cheese adds creaminess and additional protein without adding a lot of calories. This is a breakfast that might not sound as appealing, but once you try it, I think you're going to love it. The fifth combination is egg scramble with whole grains. You're going to scramble 2 to 3 eggs, and while they're cooking, you're going to add some diced vegetables, maybe some cooked grains like quinoa or brown rice, and some fresh herbs. You're going to mix it all together. You're going to serve it in a bowl with maybe a dollop of Greek yogurt on top and maybe some hot sauce or salsa for flavor. What you've got here is a breakfast with adequate protein from the eggs, with complex carbohydrates, and additional fiber from the whole grains, with vegetables for micronutrients and fiber, and with Greek yogurt, which adds creaminess and additional protein without adding a lot of calories. This is a really balanced, satisfying breakfast. The sixth combination is a breakfast sandwich. You're going to cook an egg, maybe with a slice of whole grain bread, and you're going to add some vegetables to the sandwich. I would recommend spinach, tomato, and maybe some onion. You're going to add maybe a slice of cheese if you want, or you can skip it and just use a very small amount of mayo or mustard for flavor. This is a really convenient, portable breakfast if you're on the go. It has eggs for protein, whole grain bread for complex carbs and fiber, vegetables for fiber and micronutrients, and it's quick and easy to prepare. The seventh combination is egg and berry smoothie bowl. Now, this one might sound really weird because you're putting eggs in a smoothie bowl, but it actually works really well. You're going to blend 2 raw eggs with some Greek yogurt, some berries, maybe some almond milk, and maybe a little bit of vanilla extract or honey. You're going to pour this into a bowl, and you're going to top it with granola, berries, coconut, and nuts. What you've got here is a breakfast that tastes like a dessert, that's really satisfying, that has a massive amount of protein, that has healthy carbohydrates from the berries and the granola, and that has healthy fats from the eggs and the nuts. Now, I know some of you might be concerned about eating raw eggs, so let me address that. In the United States, the risk of salmonella from raw eggs is incredibly low, like less than 1 in 20,000. If you're still concerned, you can use pasteurized eggs, but honestly, the risk is very minimal. The eighth combination is a Mediterranean egg breakfast. You're going to prepare a couple of eggs, maybe poached or fried, and you're going to serve them on a bed of sautéed spinach with some diced tomatoes, some olives, maybe some feta cheese, and some herbs like oregano. You're going to serve this with a slice of whole grain bread or maybe some whole grain pita. This is a really delicious, flavorful breakfast that feels like something you're eating at a restaurant. It has eggs for protein, vegetables for fiber and micronutrients, and the Mediterranean flavors are going to make it feel really satisfying and special. The ninth combination is an egg and sweet potato hash. You're going to dice up a sweet potato, saute it with some onions and peppers, and then you're going to add some scrambled or fried eggs on top. You can add some fresh herbs like cilantro or parsley. You can add some salsa if you want. What you've got here is a breakfast with eggs for protein, sweet potato for complex carbohydrates and fiber, vegetables for micronutrients, and really satisfying, delicious flavors. This is a breakfast that's going to fill you up and is going to taste amazing. The 10th combination is a simple 2-egg breakfast with berries and nuts. Sometimes the simplest is the best. You're going to cook 2 eggs however you prefer them, maybe scrambled or fried or boiled. You're going to serve them with a handful of berries and a small handful of nuts like almonds or walnuts. Maybe you're going to have a slice of whole grain toast. This is simple, quick, and it checks all the boxes: protein from the eggs, healthy fats from the eggs and the nuts, fiber and carbohydrates from the berries and the toast, and micronutrients from all the components. Now, let me talk about some specific strategies for making your egg breakfast even more effective for weight loss. The first strategy is to prioritize whole eggs over egg whites. I know that a lot of people think that egg whites are healthier because they're lower in calories and lower in fat. But here's the thing, the yolk is where all the nutrient density is. The yolk contains choline, lutein, zeaxanthin, and a bunch of other beneficial compounds. The yolk also contains the fat that makes the breakfast taste good and keeps you satisfied. Whole eggs are going to keep you more satisfied for longer than just egg whites, so you're going to eat less overall. The second strategy is to combine your eggs with vegetables. The more vegetables you can fit into your breakfast, the better. Vegetables add fiber, which keeps you satisfied longer. Vegetables add micronutrients, which support your overall health. Vegetables add volume to your breakfast without adding a lot of calories, so you can have a really substantial, satisfying breakfast without eating a huge number of calories. I would aim for at least a cup of vegetables in your breakfast, whether that's mixed into an omelet or served on the side. The third strategy is to avoid adding excessive amounts of cheese or other high-calorie additions. A little bit of cheese adds flavor and doesn't add that many calories. But a lot of cheese adds a significant number of calories without adding proportional satiety. So use cheese sparingly, maybe a quarter cup or less. The fourth strategy is to pair your eggs with a source of fiber. This could be vegetables, as I mentioned, but it could also be whole grain toast, oatmeal, beans, or fruit. The fiber is going to slow down digestion, it's going to keep your blood sugar stable, and it's going to keep you satisfied longer. The fifth strategy is to include a source of healthy fat beyond just the egg yolks. This could be olive oil used in cooking, avocado, nuts, seeds, or nut butter. These additional healthy fats are going to make your breakfast taste better. They're going to keep you satisfied longer, and they're going to support your overall health. The sixth strategy is to prepare your breakfast in a way that makes it look appealing and feel special. If your breakfast looks good and feels like something you actually want to eat, you're going to be more likely to stick with it. You're going to feel more satisfied eating it. You're going to look forward to breakfast. So take a few extra seconds to plate your food nicely, to add some fresh herbs, to add some colorful vegetables. Make your breakfast look like something you're eating at a restaurant. The seventh strategy is to eat your egg breakfast at the right time. I would recommend eating your egg breakfast within an hour of waking up. This starts your day off right, it stabilizes your blood sugar, and it sets the tone for the rest of the day. If you wait until mid-morning to eat, you might experience some hunger or energy dips earlier, which could lead to snacking or poor food choices. The eighth strategy is to drink plenty of water with your breakfast. Water helps with digestion, it helps keep you hydrated, and it can actually help increase satiety. So drink a glass of water before your breakfast and maybe another glass during or after your breakfast. The ninth strategy is to eat slowly and mindfully. Don't wolf down your breakfast while you're checking your phone or watching TV. Sit down, pay attention to your food, chew thoroughly, and really enjoy it. Eating slowly allows your brain to receive the signal that you're full before you overeat. It also makes the eating experience more enjoyable and satisfying. The 10th strategy is to be consistent with your egg breakfast. You're not going to see results if you eat an egg breakfast one day and then a donut the next day. The magic happens when you consistently eat a healthy egg breakfast day after day. Your body is going to adapt to this. Your hunger levels are going to decrease. Your cravings are going to decrease. Your energy is going to increase. Now, let me talk about some common questions and concerns that people have about eating eggs for breakfast for weight loss. The first question is, how many eggs should I eat? The answer depends on a few factors. How big are you? How active are you? How much do you typically eat? Generally speaking, I would recommend 1 to 3 whole eggs. If you're a smaller person, 1 to 2 eggs is probably perfect. If you're a larger person or if you have a big appetite, 2 to 3 eggs might be better. You could also do a combination where some days you eat 2 eggs and some days you eat 3 eggs, depending on how hungry you are. The second question is, what's the best way to cook eggs? The truth is that any way you cook eggs is fine. Scrambled, fried, boiled, poached, baked, it doesn't really matter. Some ways are slightly more calorie efficient than others. For example, boiling requires no added fat, so it's slightly lower in calories than frying. But honestly, the difference is minimal, and it's more important that you cook your eggs in a way that you enjoy eating them. If you like fried eggs and you're going to eat them consistently, then fry your eggs. If you like scrambled eggs, scramble them. Cook them in a way that you're going to actually want to eat them every day. The third question is, should I use butter or oil when cooking my eggs? Both are fine. Butter adds flavor and is great for cooking. Olive oil is also great for cooking and has some additional health benefits. You could also use other oils like avocado oil or coconut oil. The key is to use a small amount, maybe a teaspoon or a tablespoon depending on how many eggs you're cooking. You don't need a lot of fat to cook eggs effectively, and using a small amount keeps the calorie count down while still providing the benefits of the fat. The fourth question is, can I add cheese to my eggs? Yes, absolutely. Cheese adds flavor and makes eggs more satisfying, but I would recommend using a small amount, maybe a quarter cup or a small handful. This way you get the flavor benefit without adding too many calories. The fifth question is, can I eat eggs every day? Yes, absolutely. There's no reason you can't eat eggs every single day. Eggs are nutritious, they're affordable, they're convenient, and they're delicious. Multiple studies have shown that eating eggs every day does not negatively impact your health markers. The sixth question is, what if I don't like eggs? Well, first I would challenge you to try eggs prepared in different ways because maybe you just haven't found your favorite preparation yet. But if after trying several different preparations you truly don't like eggs, that's okay. You can use other high-protein breakfast options like Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, or lean meat. But I do think eggs are one of the best options for weight loss, so I would encourage you to give them a fair shot. The seventh question is, what's the best thing to eat with eggs for weight loss? I would recommend pairing eggs with vegetables, whole grains, fruit, or dairy products. These foods add satiety, they add micronutrients, they help stabilize blood sugar, and they round out your breakfast nutritionally. The eighth question is it better to eat eggs or oatmeal for breakfast? Both are good options, but eggs are slightly better for weight loss because they have more protein and more satiety compared to oatmeal, and they don't cause as much of a blood sugar spike. That said, oatmeal is still a good option if you prepare it correctly, which means using steel-cut oats or rolled oats, not instant oatmeal, and adding protein and healthy fat to it. The ninth question is, should I eat egg yolks or just egg whites? Definitely eat whole eggs, including the yolks. The yolks contain the majority of the nutrients, and the fat in the yolks is what makes you feel satisfied. You're going to get much better results with whole eggs than with just egg whites. The 10th question is, what if I'm allergic to eggs? If you're allergic to eggs, you'll need to use a different protein source for breakfast. Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, lean meat like turkey sausage or bacon, or plant-based proteins like tofu could all be good options. Now, let me explain why an egg breakfast is so much more effective for weight loss than other popular breakfast options. Let's compare an egg breakfast to some other common breakfasts. First, let's compare an egg breakfast to a cereal breakfast. A typical cereal breakfast might be a bowl of cereal with 2 cups of milk and maybe a banana. This is maybe 400 calories, but it's mostly carbohydrates, particularly refined carbohydrates. Your blood sugar spikes, insulin is released, and by 10 or 11 in the morning, you're hungry again. You've eaten 400 calories, and you're not satisfied. An egg breakfast with 2 eggs, some vegetables, whole grain toast, and a glass of orange juice is also around 400 to 450 calories, but it's much more balanced in terms of macronutrients. You have protein from the eggs, you have fat from the eggs, you have carbohydrates from the toast and the orange juice, and you have fiber from the vegetables. Your blood sugar rises slowly, your insulin response is minimal, and you stay satisfied until lunch. Let's compare an egg breakfast to a pastry breakfast. A typical pastry breakfast might be a bagel with cream cheese, or a muffin and a coffee with cream and sugar, or a pastry from a coffee shop. These are highly processed, they're mostly refined carbohydrates, and they cause a significant blood sugar spike followed by a crash. You're left feeling hungry and wanting more food shortly after eating. An egg breakfast is going to keep you satisfied for hours compared to this. Let's compare an egg breakfast to a yogurt and granola breakfast. A typical yogurt and granola breakfast might be a cup of yogurt with a half cup of granola. This is maybe 300 to 400 calories, and it's pretty balanced, but it's still more carbohydrate heavy than an egg breakfast. The granola is usually pretty high in sugar, even if it's marketed as healthy. The yogurt usually has added sugar. And while this breakfast is decent, it's not going to keep you as satisfied as an egg breakfast because it has less protein and less fat. An egg breakfast is going to keep you satisfied longer. Let's compare an egg breakfast to a smoothie breakfast. A typical smoothie breakfast might be a fruit smoothie with some yogurt and milk. This is usually around 300 to 400 calories, and it's mostly carbohydrates, particularly from the fruit. Your blood sugar is going to spike, and you're going to be hungry again within a couple of hours. Unless the smoothie has adequate protein, like 2 scoops of protein powder or Greek yogurt, it's not going to be very effective for weight loss. And if you do add adequate protein to the smoothie, it's probably going to taste like a protein shake, which doesn't feel as much like a real breakfast. An egg breakfast is going to keep you more satisfied, So in every comparison, the egg breakfast comes out ahead when it comes to satiety and keeping your blood sugar stable. Now, let me talk about what happens when you eat an egg breakfast consistently over time. What's the longer-term impact on your weight loss goals? When you eat an egg breakfast, day after day, you're training your body to stay satisfied on less food. You're stabilizing your blood sugar, which reduces cravings and reduces the likelihood of overeating later in the day. You're reducing your overall calorie intake because you're not snacking as much. Studies have actually shown that people who eat eggs for breakfast eat about 400 to 500 fewer calories per day compared to people who eat a high-carb breakfast. Over the course of a week, that's 2,800 to 30,500 fewer calories. Over the course of a month, that's 12,000 to 14,000 fewer calories. You know how many calories you need to burn to lose a pound? 3,500 calories. So just by switching your breakfast from a high-carb breakfast to an egg breakfast, you could potentially lose 1 to 4 pounds per month just from that one change, without making any other changes to your diet or lifestyle, and over time, this compounds. You lose weight, your energy increases, you feel better, you have more motivation to exercise, you make better food choices throughout the day. The egg breakfast becomes a keystone habit that sets off a cascade of positive effects. Now, let me talk about some additional strategies to make your weight loss even more effective when combined with an egg breakfast. The first strategy is to make sure that your overall diet is healthy. An egg breakfast is great, but if the rest of your diet is terrible, you're not going to lose weight. You need to make sure that your lunch is healthy, that your dinner is healthy, that your snacks are healthy. You need to make sure you're eating mostly whole foods, mostly nutrient-dense foods. An egg breakfast is going to make this easier because you're going to be less hungry and you're going to have fewer cravings, but you still need to make healthy choices throughout the day. The second strategy is to exercise regularly. Exercise burns calories, it builds muscle, it improves your metabolic health, and it helps you lose weight faster. Combining an egg breakfast with regular exercise is going to give you much faster results than just eating an egg breakfast alone. The third strategy is to make sure you're getting enough sleep. Sleep affects your hunger hormones. When you don't get enough sleep, your hunger hormones are elevated, so you're more likely to overeat. When you get adequate sleep, your hunger hormones are better regulated. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. The fourth strategy is to manage your stress. Stress elevates cortisol, which can increase hunger and promote weight gain, particularly around the midsection. Manage your stress through meditation, exercise, deep breathing, or whatever works for you. The fifth strategy is to stay hydrated. Drinking water can help with satiety, it can help boost your metabolism, and it can help you avoid eating when you're actually just thirsty. Aim for about half your body weight in ounces of water per day. The sixth strategy is to be patient and consistent. Weight loss is not a sprint, it's a marathon. You're not going to lose 30 pounds in a month, and if anyone promises that to you, they're lying. But if you're consistent with a healthy egg breakfast, if you're making other healthy choices, if you're exercising, you can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week, which is a healthy, sustainable rate of weight loss. Over the course of a few months, you're going to see significant changes. The seventh strategy is to track your progress. Weigh yourself once a week, take progress photos every week or every 2 weeks, measure your waist circumference. The scale doesn't tell the whole story because muscle is heavier than fat, but these metrics together give you a good picture of your progress. The eighth strategy is to find an accountability partner or join a community. Having someone to share your journey with makes it much more likely that you're going to stick with it. You can share your successes, you can share your challenges, and you can motivate each other. Now, let me address some potential pitfalls that people encounter when they start eating eggs for breakfast for weight loss. The first pitfall is getting bored with eggs. If you're eating the same egg preparation every single day, eventually you're going to get bored and you're going to start looking for something else. This is why I gave you 10 different egg breakfast combinations earlier. Rotate through different preparations. Try different vegetables, different spices, different cooking methods. Keep it interesting. The second pitfall is eating too much food for breakfast. Remember, the goal is not to stuff yourself at breakfast. The goal is to eat enough to stay satisfied until lunch. If you're eating 6 eggs and a huge portion of toast and avocado, you might be eating too much. An egg breakfast should be around 400 to 500 calories depending on your body size and your activity level. That's probably around 2 to 3 eggs with vegetables and maybe some whole grain toast or another carbohydrate source. The third pitfall is not eating enough. If you're only eating 1 egg and nothing else, you're probably not going to be satisfied. Make sure you're eating enough to stay satisfied until lunch, which is probably at least 2 eggs plus some vegetables and maybe some whole grain toast or another carbohydrate. The fourth pitfall is eating eggs but not making other healthy choices. An egg breakfast can help you eat fewer calories overall, but if the rest of your diet is terrible, you're still not going to lose weight. Make sure you're making healthy choices throughout the day. The fifth pitfall is not being patient. Weight loss takes time. If you've been eating an egg breakfast for a week and you haven't lost 5 pounds, that doesn't mean it's not working. Give it at least 2 to 3 weeks before you evaluate whether something is working. The sixth pitfall is using too much added fat when cooking eggs. You don't need a lot of oil or butter to cook eggs effectively. A teaspoon or a tablespoon is plenty. Using too much added fat adds unnecessary calories. The seventh pitfall is adding too much cheese or other high-calorie toppings. As I mentioned, a little bit of cheese is fine, but too much cheese adds a lot of calories without adding proportional satiety. Okay, so now let me talk about what you can expect when you start eating an egg breakfast consistently for weight loss. Within the first week, you might notice that you're less hungry throughout the morning. You might be able to go from breakfast all the way to lunch without feeling hungry or wanting to snack. This is because your blood sugar is more stable, and your body is getting more satiety from your breakfast. Within the first 2 weeks, you might notice that your energy levels are more stable. You might not experience the mid-morning energy crash that you used to experience. You might find it easier to focus on work or school. Within the first month, you might notice that your cravings have decreased significantly. The constant desire for snacks might be gone. You might find it much easier to stick to your diet. Within the first month or two, you might start noticing weight loss. The amount of weight loss depends on how many calories you're eating overall and how much you're exercising, but many people lose 5 to 10 pounds in the first month or two by just switching their breakfast. Over the course of a few months, the changes become more dramatic. You might lose 15 to 30 pounds or more if you're consistent. And beyond the weight loss, you might notice other positive changes. Your skin might look better, your hair and nails might be stronger and healthier, your digestion might improve, your mood might improve, your energy might improve, your overall quality of life might improve. These are all side effects of eating better and being healthier. Now, let me emphasize something that I think is really important. This isn't about starving yourself or depriving yourself. This isn't about eating foods you hate or forcing yourself to do something that's unsustainable. This is about eating real, whole foods that taste good, that keep you satisfied, and that support your weight loss goals. An egg breakfast is inherently satisfying and delicious. It's not a sacrifice, it's actually an upgrade compared to eating a donut or a bowl of cereal for breakfast, and this isn't a short-term diet. This is a long-term lifestyle change. You're not going to eat eggs for breakfast for 3 months and then go back to eating donuts. You're going to realize how much better you feel when you eat eggs for breakfast, and you're going to want to keep doing it. You're going to want to keep feeling good. You're going to want to keep having energy. You're going to want to keep not being hungry all the time. This is one of the things I love about recommending eggs for breakfast to my patients. It's not a temporary diet. It's a sustainable lifestyle change that people can stick with forever. And I want to give you a quick action plan so that you can start implementing this today. First, the next time you go to the grocery store, buy some eggs. Get a couple dozen. Get some of the vegetables I mentioned, like spinach, peppers, tomatoes, mushrooms, and onions. Get some whole grain bread. Get some healthy fats like olive oil, nuts, seeds, or avocado. Get some fruit like berries or apples. Get some Greek yogurt or cottage cheese if you want additional protein options. You want to set yourself up so that you have everything you need to make a healthy egg breakfast. Second, tonight or tomorrow morning, prepare one of the egg breakfast combinations I mentioned. Try one of the 10 combinations I gave you. See which one you like the most. Third, commit to eating a healthy egg breakfast every single day for at least 1 week. That's only 1 week. Give it 1 week and see how you feel. See if you notice a difference in your hunger, your energy, your cravings. Fourth, after 1 week, evaluate how you feel. Are you less hungry? Do you have more energy? Are your cravings better? If the answer is yes, keep going. Commit to another week, and then another week, and eventually it becomes your new normal. Fifth, as you continue, track your progress. Weigh yourself once a week or once every 2 weeks. Take progress photos. Notice how your clothes fit. Notice how you feel. Let these metrics motivate you to keep going, and if you do all of this, I promise you that within a few months, you're going to see a significant change in your body composition, in your energy levels, in your overall health. And it's going to be because you made this one simple change. You switched your breakfast to a healthy egg breakfast. All right, guys, I think I've given you a comprehensive guide to using eggs for weight loss. Let me summarize the key points. Eggs are one of the most powerful tools you have for sustainable weight loss because they stabilize your blood sugar, they're incredibly satiating, and they keep you satisfied for hours after eating them. You should aim for 1 to 3 eggs at breakfast, combined with vegetables, whole grains or fruit, and healthy fats. There are 10 different egg breakfast combinations that I gave you, and you can rotate through them so you never get bored. Making these changes consistently over time is going to result in significant weight loss and significant improvements in your overall health and quality of life. Now, before you go, I want to ask you to do a few things. First, hit that like button. It helps me know that this video was helpful for you, and it helps the YouTube algorithm recommend this video to other people who are trying to lose weight. Second, comment below and tell me which egg breakfast combination you're most excited to try. Is it the Mediterranean egg breakfast? Is it the egg and sweet potato hash? Is it the scrambled egg breakfast? Let me know in the comments below because I love reading your comments and I respond to as many as I can. Third, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the health and fitness content that we upload every single week. And finally, if you found this video helpful, please share it with someone who you think could benefit from this information. If someone you know is trying to lose weight or is struggling with hunger and cravings, send them this video. Let's help people improve their health through better nutrition. I'm Dr. J, and I'll see you in the next video. Now go make yourself an amazing egg breakfast and start your weight loss journey. Take care.